All right, let's go. All right, here we go. My name is Julianne Peterson. I welcome you to tonight's Zoom at 8. Thank you everyone for joining me. Tonight is going to be a fun one. We have a real nice, neat guy, Will Smith, who we're really anxious to hear his story. But before we get started, a little bit about Old Capital Lending. If you're not familiar with Old Capital, we are a premier provider of debt for multifamily. However, we also get involved with storage, mobile home, retail, office, senior housing, student housing, industrial. So we start at 1 million loan amount and go up from there. If there is any opportunity that we can help you with the debt or equity, we'd love the opportunity. So let's kick off tonight with anybody that's new to the house, who hasn't been here or who has not been here for a while. Now, William Hernandez, were you here last week and I missed you? Or
No,
is
no,
this your first time?
first one.
Can you tell everybody about yourself? Where are you located?
Yep.
What are you doing in multifamily? What are you looking for?
Well, I'm from LA, California,
Okay.
and I'm in insurance right now. I work in insurance sales, and I just happened on Michael's. Uh, I purchased the Financial Freedom book. I happened upon it, and then just one thing led to another. As I went through, I went to his website, and then I found everything. And I was just intrigued. I've always been intrigued by real estate, and I've always wanted to be an investor, always. But I thought you had to have money. I've never gotten into single family residence, nothing at all, really, until I read a little bit more on the website. And I was just, you know what? I got to do it, and I'm going to do it. And here I am.
And it is possible. We are all here to tell you it is possible.
From what I see and hear, you know, I mean, we all put our pants on the same way.
Yes, that is true. Although I wear a skirt, I hope you don't. Um, Listen, I want to make sure that I communicate that this is a community that you want to connect with. All of us want to be in deals, whether we want to be on the GP side or we want to be on the LP side. This is a network of people that all are interested in learning. I always encourage new folks to jump on a deal as an LP, because someday you're going to be a GP and are going to need to take the steps. So why not find out and learn from someone else who is taking it from the start? Do the webinar, find out all about the deal. How is it being communicated? Getting your money involved in it. How do you fill out all of the paperwork? Do that first, because how can you take millions of dollars from somebody else and not understand how a deal is put together? So really invest your money first. 50, 75, 100, 200, whatever you have, I highly recommend that you look at that first. All right.
Thank
Who
you.
else is new here? Who else is new here? Casey, we haven't seen you. You're new with us. What are you working on? Another, hey, William, Casey's also in LA. So
Yeah,
you
All right.
guys need to hook up. Casey,
yeah.
what do you got going on?
Actually, my partner just joined on today too, Melissa Elizondo. She's in Texas. I think I mentioned to you about her when we met for lunch that time. And
Yes,
we bought
the ultimate
guide.
guide.
We're
Yep.
studying like crazy. We just signed on an attorney, an SEC attorney, and we just signed on an accountant as well. So we're building our team and we're getting educated, and we're just going to start analyzing, as many deals as we can, practicing initially, and then we're going to start reaching out to brokers and start. As I told you, we did a passive deal with Chris Roberts. We invested in one of his projects, and he offered to mentor us. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to start looking for deals and analyzing deals. soon.
Terrific. Thank you, Casey. So here's an instance. Casey's brand new. He comes to a luncheon that I hosted we all wore our masks, seriously. And I hooked Casey up with another investor in the Michael Blanc mentoring program. And now he's invested in Chris's deal. So that is something that you guys want to take a look at. I also have 2 other folks that are in a deal. Steve and Justin, what is your update? Today is what's today's update?
We're happy. Everything's good. We are literally one investor away from completely filling our raise. We're set to close at the end of the month. But we have, enough to close now. We have enough to start executing our business plan. We're in really, really great shape. So we couldn't be more excited.
Fabulous. So you're only one person away. Are
Yeah.
you saying that you may need one of these people?
One investor, one investor away.
Because remember, we all know each other. According to the SEC guidelines, everybody, we all know each other. We have to have a relationship before we can invest. So if there's anyone in the house who would like to learn more about Steve and Justin's and Bernie's deal, Steve is going to put his contact information in the chat so that you can reach out and figure out if it's a good fit for you. Now remember, there's always paybacks. Get to know where Steve and Justin live so that when you get in a deal, you give them a call. It all goes back and forth, right? All right, excellent. Now, Dan, where are you at today? What are we working on? I know I went out to the property that you were looking at in Mesquite, Nevada. What's today's update?
Well, we found out that it was licensed as a motel.
Oh.
And so it doesn't fit the criteria. And I was concerned about the about 60% studios that it had anyway. And then the remainder was 1-bedrooms. It doesn't even have a single 2-bedroom. So I didn't like that mix in the first place, but then when it came back that it was actually licensed as a motel, that doesn't really work. And
would that be considered maybe a brothel? I don't know. I'm just wondering.
No.
Okay. All right.
No, it's not.
So Mesquite is where there are casinos. It's in the state of Nevada, which is legal. So I just had to ask the question.
But that's not legal in Clark County.
Oh, okay. So
that's, other counties it is.
all right. Good. I'm glad. All right. Excellent. Well, I'm glad, there is a great example of you start to underwrite these things. They look great. You get a little bit deeper. You figure out, maybe it's not such a good deal, or, the financials may be a problem, or, the broker may not be really telling you the truth. So, really a challenge, but great job. I mean, you wouldn't have never wanted to have your investors be part of that. So Dan, great job. Great job unveiling that. Yeah, really good.
Well, I had help.
Yeah, well, we are here to help.
From the network, from the Dealmaker Mastermind network.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Really, really, really great. So is there anybody that, oh, thank you. Well, thank you. Anybody in the house that has a burning question or a need? Maybe somebody is looking for a partner, or somebody is looking to need some capital raising. The time is now. What do you got? Anybody? Yes,
Julie,
David.
Julie, can you refer a residential lender?
Where? Here in California?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yep, I'll send that to you.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Anybody else?
Hey, Julie.
Yes, Andy, hi.
Hey, yeah, so I'm looking to partner up with guys like Steve to kind of help round out some of their equity needs. We'd be an operator here in California and maybe parts of Arizona, but a lot of our investors like Julie Julie's terrible about California. A lot of the investors hear Julie and they're thinking, well, we got to go to Texas or we got to go to Arizona or along the Sun Belt. So we would love to kind of talk with some operators, see if we can't help round out some of their deals. And our
So,
capacity isn't huge. It's like in that 3 to 5 million range, but maybe that will help, round out some bigger deals for some folks.
so Andy,
Andy, let's chat.
Andy, what you're saying is you'll go to different markets outside of California.
That's right. So we'll take our investor pool outside of California.
That's excellent. Now, Andy, do you have agency experience to be a deal sponsor at all?
Yes.
You guys, this
Yeah.
is your man. Get a hold of Andy. Andy, can you put your name and your contact information in the Zoom chat, please?
Sure.
Great.
Sure. Thanks, Julie.
Andy does come to my meetup when we are not in COVID. So again, amazing how large, but how really small this industry is. Once you start knowing and being around these rooms, they get smaller and you really become good friends with so many people. So I got to tell you, about 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, I don't know. I picked up the phone because I do quite a bit of business in the Carolinas and I needed to get another broker because I have a lot of people looking there. And so I looked up Will Smith. I was like, he's a broker. I'm going to call him. And now all of a sudden, Will Smith is everywhere. I'm thinking I'm the only person that's contacting Will, but he's all over the place. Tonight, you guys, we have a real treat to hear from Will Smith. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He is the CEO of Onyx Capital Investment. He's also a commercial broker for the Overton Group, LLC. He is a former East Carolina University football player and went on to play in the NFL for the Washington Redskins, the Oakland Raiders, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Carolina Panthers. Over the course of his career, Willie has built a reputation as a trusted advisor to clients who have actively pursuing sound investments in commercial real estate. He too is married to a queen and has 2 angels. Is that right, Willie?
Actually, I got that family has grew to 4.
Oh,
I got 4 kids now, so
See, I didn't get the update. Things change over 10 weeks.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding. You guys, I'm so excited to welcome Will Smith to Zoom at 8. And typically we have guests who bring whether it's a slideshow because they want to show us how their software works or how their investment strategy works. But today we get to interview Willie Smith. What a treat. Hey, Will, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate you having me on the show.
And it is such a treat. My dad was a photographer for NBC. And he would take pictures of all sorts of things, but they would never send him to a football game or a baseball game because he hated it. So I was not raised in a household with sports. And I know there's so many people here that will have so many better questions than me because they want to know, how did that throw? How did the pass go? I just don't have that. And
Yeah.
I apologize for that, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have questions here and are really interested in your journey. So
Yeah.
I'm going to start out asking questions, and certainly anybody that has a question, please feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll take it from here. Right? All right, Willie, tell us about your experience in the NFL. How did you get there? Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So, as you mentioned, I went to East Carolina University and I received my degree in business management. And I came here as a defensive end, and I was 225 at the time. And all the guys joked on me when I got here and said, defensive end at 225. They thought I was a tight end or a receiver. And, by the end of my freshman year, I was 265 and, started looking like a real DN, went to D tackle for a little bit. And, in high school, I played tight end and, they said, well, hey, come over here, be a tight end for us. You get to do your end zone dances and, show off. And, lo and behold, they was tricking me. They wanted me to be an offensive lineman. And they knew I wasn't going to switch to the O-line because every D-line dreads becoming an offensive lineman because you get no glory. You do all the work, get no glory. And but lo and behold, when I became a tight end, there was plays that I had to block. And they said, man, this guy's really good at blocking. So that's when they moved me to tackle. And one thing led to another. And I got on the draft boards and, scouts were really recruiting me. And I thought I was going to get drafted. And, it got to the end of my senior season. We had a lockout. I wasn't drafted. And now I'm sitting at home trying to figure out, hey, what's next for me? And, sitting around said, well, I got to do something. I'm not making any money from the program. So, believe it or not, I decided to get a sales job. And I worked for this company called Cutco. You sell kitchen cutlery. And, I was one of their top sales brokers at the time. And, people used to wonder, how did I sell so many knives? I told them, you're going to sell a knife or we're going to have a problem. You're going to buy one of my knives right now or we're going to have a problem. And they say, hey, where do I sign that? And that was how I sold a lot of knives. I was one of the top brokers in the area. And when that lifted, the lockout ended. And, I had a whole lot of teams call me and say, look, we want you to be here. We believe you can be great. And I was like, well, if you believed in me so much, why didn't you draft me? So I was a little salty at the time, but nevertheless, I decided to go to the Washington Redskins and they're Washington now. And I made their team as an undrafted free agent, was able to start 4 games for them. Went to the Oakland Raiders the next season. I was waived. They picked me up off waivers and I started 8 games for them, tore my tricep the next season and I was waived injured. San Diego Chargers picked me up after that, and I was 2 years with them, and then I went to account with Washington and account with the Panthers. And but what got me into real estate was, when I didn't get drafted, I realized that, football isn't forever. And as a college kid, with dreams of going to the NFL, all you think about is football, football, football. That's where I'm going to make my millions. And, that wasn't the case for me. So from then, that point forward, I was always thinking about what's plan B, what am I going to do next? And I started buying some duplexes and townhomes while I was playing. And when I finished up, contrary to what most people believe, they believe if you go to the NFL, you're a multimillionaire. And that's just not the fact for, 95% of the guys that play. You're going to have to do something when you finished. And for me, I said, well, I'm going to become a broker. I started residential side initially, and I was, one of the top sale brokers in the area. And I quickly realized that I didn't like dealing with buyers. They're so emotional. They don't like the carpet color or they don't like why the wall looks like this or that. And I just couldn't take it anymore. And I came to the commercial side and started doing investment sales on apartments, multifamily, mobile home parks. So that's where I'm at today.
So how was it that you found, not being traded, not being, again, I don't know all of the terms and everything, but how is that on your psyche when you're thinking, hey, I'm not wanted? How do you manage that? That's got to be difficult.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And what you're basically referring to, traded or cut. When you get cut, somebody basically saying that we don't see value in you on our team. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you believe you're doing everything you can to help that team win. And just like any other failure in life, you just got to pick your head up and get back at it, keep grinding and look for the opportunity. Because one thing I found out from playing football, everybody gets a chance. At some point in your life, no matter where you're at, you're going to have an opportunity to make a play. That was football, make a play in life. In real estate, hey, this deal finally came across my desk. I've passed on 100 so far. this is the one that I get a chance to make a play on, and somehow, some way, I'm going to find a way to put it together. So that's how I would relate that to commercial real estate.
Yeah, that's interesting. Really interesting. And it's really the teammates. I mean, you had many, many, many teammates, and you know, it can be a struggle, whether it's on the field or it's in a deal.
Yep.
Can you talk about your teammates? Did you have a lot of love going on with your teammates on the field, and you know, how does that transfer over today? You know, do you have teammates on your deals?
Yeah, well, that's a very interesting, you know, topic, you know, because there's always one team that wins the Super Bowl, right? And, you know, whenever you start off the season, everybody has to go, every team, every coach, they're preaching Super Bowl, playoffs, Super Bowl, that's where we're trying to go. And what you find out is, because I was on winning teams and I was on losing teams. You know, when I was with the Raiders, we might have won one game the whole season. And when I was with the Chargers, we went to the playoffs and we were fighting to try to win a Super Bowl. And the one thing that always rings true on a winning team, and this can relate to commercial real estate, any team in general, is you got to believe in the guys on your team. You got to have trust that the guys on your team are going to do their job day in and day out. When you're on the football field, especially as an offensive lineman, we have to trust the other four guys on the line with us. As a tackle, you know, you got a guard beside you, and you know, a lot of times you're blocking the D tackle, the DN, and the linebacker. And, you know, for those that don't really understand football, there's three people over two guys, and we got to block all three of them a lot of times. Or we got to block two of them and trust the running back to pick up the other guy. And you all got to communicate. So communication is key to any winning team. And then, you know, the last component of that is you all got to believe. You got to believe that you're going to be great. You got to believe that, you know, you're going to achieve greatness, because if you don't have that deep belief, then when things get hard, and times are going to get hard, there's going to be stuff that you didn't see. There's going to be things that you thought you was going to underwrite, but just some way, somehow, something got past you. The teams that believe and have confidence in themselves are the ones that win. The Oakland Raiders, we always found a way to lose the game. We just did. Yeah, and it would always be like a freaking field goal. It's always so close. And, you know, people always tell you football is a game of inches, and life is the same way. You're just one deal away from changing your life forever. And I will tell you, just believe in yourself and give it everything you have, and make sure you choose teammates that believe in you and believe in their own abilities.
Wow. That's so profound. Simple, but yet so profound. You know, during the difficult times that you experienced with your teammates, what strategies did you use, you know, when you were so frustrated? How did you work that out? You know, you have to be teammates, but God, you were so angry with them, I'm sure. How do you work through that?
Yeah, well, that goes to having a coach. And, you know, there's a football that's so much like life. You know, you need to have a coach in life, and you need to have a coach, you know, doing real estate deals. And I believe all of you guys are somehow, some way associated with Michael Blunt's coaching program. And that's the first step, because there's going to be times where, you know, something may happen and it was something that you didn't foresee. And you guys got to get your heads together to find a way to overcome that obstacle. Or that could be the thing that tears on and you know, breaks the team apart. And I've seen that happen, that, you know, teams had that one player that just wouldn't buy in, and they would drag the whole team down. So, you know, it's one of those things, if somebody doesn't want to cooperate, and this was the NFL, like, you know, they made millions of dollars. I mean, shoot, billion-dollar organization. And if somebody was a cancer to the organization, they got rid of them. And, you know, if somebody's on your team, you know, obviously you guys got contracts and you got all this, but somehow, some way, you need to have some kind of clause to get that son of a gun off the team, because he would be the person to destroy your team and take everybody down with him. You know, so you don't want that to happen to you.
Yeah, that's true. So did you ever feel like you were getting ganged up on by anybody, or was it always, you know, friends and, you know, hey, good job, moving on? Tell us a little bit about your experience on the field and then off the field with some of your teammates.
Yeah, well, Well, I'm 6'6", and I was 320, well, 340 now, but I was 320 at the time, man. You can imagine there's not going to be a lot of people that want to gang up on me. But with that being said, been on the old line, we all look out for each other. We hung together on the field, off the field, and it was just, family environment. It was like your brother. So that's what I'll say to that.
That's fabulous. So do you think that football prepared you for multifamily? I mean, obviously teamwork. Are there other things that you feel that football prepared you for in multifamily or in real estate or in life? Curious.
Yeah. Just working hard. You had to have the mindset of every day find a way to get better. And, that it was that mindset, that belief that, propelled me to the NFL, because when I got to ECU, I didn't even start my first year. I got redshirted. I had to do a lot of work. I mean, I put in a lot of hours, a lot of tears, a lot of sweat, a lot of blood, all of that. You got to be willing to do all the little things if you want to make it in football and in life. You got to be willing to do extra. I started a segment on my podcast called Monday Motivation, and I talk about all of the mindset type stuff that you need to make it to the next level, because it's all a mindset. Anybody can do it, but whether they can or can't is, what do they really believe in their mind at the end of the day.
Has your height and weight helped with multifamily? I'm just saying, just curious.
Well, I would say it gets the attention. And I walk door, I'm door knocking, so to speak, and I walk in, and they're gonna say, "Who the heck is this guy?" So I would say at least get some attention, some eyes from that. But that's about it.
Yeah, that's funny. So you're on the field, you're off the field, you're in interviews, you're asking for signatures. You're pretty big, right? I mean, your life is good and things are great, and then you transfer into life. How is that transferring? Like, where is everybody? Where's my signatures? That's got to be it's got to be hard on your ego. It's got to be hard on, what is my purpose? How do I move forward?
Yeah.
Did you find yourself in a dark time where, what is my purpose? How do I get out of that? Did you ever go through any of that? Where was your value? You were no longer a football player. That's where all your dreams lied. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking the tough questions now. I'm getting personal. But if you think about it, just look at it this way. You're in the National Football League. Only 1% of the guys that ever play football make it to the NFL. And you make it there. And you go into the game, and there's tens of thousands of people screaming and yelling, and after the game, everybody's running up to you wanting your autographs. And when you're done, it's like, you're done. What's next? How can I recreate that excitement? And the reality is you can't, not when you first finish playing, because everybody was looking at you. Everybody, idolizing you, so to speak. So most guys, when they're done, they go through a state of deep depression, because it's like, man, like I want to experience that again, but you know that you cannot. And that's why a lot of these guys, if you think about it, there's a stat out there that within 3 years, and that's not just the NFL, but this is most sports, major league sports, pro sports, within 3 years of finishing the game, 90, I think it's 75, 80% are broke or filing for bankruptcy. And one reason for that is, they want to get that rush. So they going out there spending money on this and spending money on that, trying to, make themselves feel good. But at the end of the day, none of that stuff matters. How did I overcome my depression? I said goals. I found my purpose in real estate. These guys were you know, they're finishing up sports. And I feel like pro sports in general, they do a bad job of setting guys up for the exit, what they're going to do when they finish playing sports. Because most guys, it take them 3, 4, 5 years to figure out what the heck they want to do. Sports was everything to them. I mean, you think about it, you spend your whole life playing sports, and now it's done. And, you know, if you try to get into the workforce, it's going to be a crappy job because, you know, you're almost like you're fresh out of college. And your peers are 10 years, 15 years into the industry, and you starting at a grunt level, and you know, you was used to being up here on cloud nine. That's a hard pill to swallow, you know, and that's why I feel like the NFL and I'm working on some stuff to put in front of these guys to educate them on how to invest in real estate. So when they're done, they can just transfer right into real estate or whatever it is, but have some kind of, you know, platform in place where these guys don't, you know, just be lost. Most guys are lost and they stay lost for a long time.
Very, very smart. Is there anybody in the house that wants to ask a football question before we go into investing and in brokerage? Anybody have a question? What was the longest throw? What was the hardest tackle? Anybody?
Yeah. I'm so curious. Like, who was the hardest to block?
Who's asking the question? I'm trying to see.
That is
Andy.
Andy.
Oh, okay. I see.
Who are your toughest matchups, man?
Man, shucks. Everybody is great. You know, when you play in college, you got a couple games where you know you're going to just get by because the other player isn't that great. But, man, in the NFL, everybody's freaking good. There's nobody trash. Like, everybody's tough to block, man. But if I had Von Miller, man, that dude's a beast, man. He's freaking nature. Like, you know, the way he could bend around the corner, like you think you got the guy blocked and he just somehow dipped his hip and he's past you. Like, and it's tough, man. Like he was a beast and he's still a beast. Like,
he's still a beast, yeah.
It's guys like that, man, that you freaking hated to play. Like you was hoping they got hurt that we could practice. Like you was hoping you didn't have to play.
And then the second one, sorry, Julie, but man, this is my guy. I gotta ask it.
Yeah.
So of the quarterbacks that you played for, who would you let through? Like, who was the guy you really didn't care about blocking for that much?
Yeah, you know what, question, man? Andy. I liked all my quarterbacks, man.
I figured you'd answer that, man.
Yeah, I liked all of them, man. I had to protect them.
That's funny. So any injuries that you still have or cannot get over? What do you got? Anything that, you know, we hear a lot about head injuries. Anything you got, you know, that you're still struggling with health-wise because of all the play?
No, I would say, I mean, obviously everybody that plays football gets a concussion at some point or another. It's just going to happen. But when I was playing college ball, I ruptured my Achilles tendon. So I had to get that repaired, and that was a painful injury, painful rehab process, but I was able to make it back and start every game that season. So that was tough. And then just, you know, being fat, you know, my back hurt. So I need to lose weight.
That's a tough one. That's real tough.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, do the kids play football? Are you encouraging them to play football? Are you going to help the teams around the city, be the spokesperson? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I have 4 girls, 14, 5, 4, and 1. So it's going to be tough to, well, one of them, she probably could play. She's a beast. But, I mean, I got old girls, and I'm really pushing them in basketball and volleyball because they're all going to be tall. I mean, my oldest, she's 14. Well, she's about to turn 15, and she's probably about 6 foot. So,
wow.
You know, all my kids are going to be tall as heck. So I'm just, you know, trying to keep sports in front of them, and hopefully they find something they love and go after with everything they have. And as far as coaching in football, I haven't decided to do anything like that just because I know how I am. I'm very passionate, and I want to be able to put everything I have into it. And I just don't feel like I can give the time needed to really help those guys along. So I'd just be halfway in.
Yeah. Now, what about any of your family members? Were they talented as you were in sports? That either you're following in their footsteps or they're trying to chase you.
Well, I would say, as far as my family members, my sister, she was pretty good in track, but she never went on to college to do it. She probably could have, but she didn't. I got a sister that was 6'2". She could have freaking played basketball, but when she was in middle school, she shot at the wrong goal and made it, and then that was the end of her career. She was embarrassed forever. And then just my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, he played in NFL as well. Got a Super Bowl ring, so. Around a lot of athletes.
Wow. Now, transitioning to commercial real estate, have you gotten him into multifamily? Your brother-in-law?
So what he did, he got a lot of, he did duplexes, townhomes, and trying to convince him to sell that stuff and let's go ahead and 1031 into some multifamily. So still having those talks with him.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So we talked about, kind of teamwork with commercial real estate. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about, did you start investing on your own? Did you build a team to work with multifamily? Where are you at in your cycle with multifamily? Can you share that with us?
Yeah. So I created Honors Capital Investments, and, the goal of this company is to buy value add multifamily in North Carolina primarily because that's where I'm at. And right now I'm just in the process of building out my teams. I'm starting to get deal flow, through my podcast. I've been having a lot of people reach out to about, potentially investing in deals. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, putting 4 or 5 posts a day out with my hashtag and information around real estate. So I'm getting a lot of passive, connections that are, just slowly starting to, triculate to me and ask me about how they can get involved, how can they invest. So I'm at the point now where I'm really just looking for, people that want to crush it. I don't want to, it's all about the team. Anybody can, form a team and go out and make stuff happen, but I want a rock star team. So that's what I'm working on.
Nice. Well, I'm sure we've got about 20 people on here that would love to say that they'd love to work with you. North Carolina. Now, do you go to any other areas? Or are you really focused on North Carolina?
Well, I feel like for my first deal, and this is probably a limiting belief, but I want to be in North Carolina just because I can drive, put hands on that. Anything within a 4-hour drive of where I'm at now. But I think after I do my first deal, I'm going to just open up to the Southeast in general. I really like a lot of the markets across the Southeast.
And are you looking, can you tell everybody what kind of size you're looking at for your first deal? Are you looking at over 100? Tell us a little bit about that because, maybe we've got some partners here in the room.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking, between that 50 to 100 mark, just because it's not as much competition. Once you hit over that 100, you got a lot of big players and they're minimal. So if I could stay under that, then I'm going to have a lot more opportunities to find some deals that they wouldn't necessarily want to take down. It just wouldn't make sense for their investor base. So that's where I'm at. I'm looking for a C-class, B- product, B-A areas that have some potential to them. So that's my my criteria when I'm looking.
Now, the Michael Blanc group is, we do a lot of underwriting because Michael Blanc puts out the SDA, which is your deal analyzer, syndicated deal analyzer. How do you do with underwriting, or is that something that you might be looking for an underwriter to help on your team?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I personally like underwriting just because you can see where the real value is on the deal, where the broker's lying, where the seller's lying, and where they're leaving a lot of meat on the table. I like it, I really do. But obviously, it's always good to have another set of eyes on what you're looking at, especially when you're about to spend millions of dollars. So it's always good to have a second eye on what you're looking at.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So you're doing a podcast. tell us a little bit about the podcast, why you decided to start a podcast. How's that going? How long has it been, in process here?
Yeah. Well, the name of the podcast is the Generational Wealth Through Commercial Real Estate Show. And it's on YouTube. So I have a YouTube channel, but it's also on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you can listen to music at, my podcast is there. And, the primary reason why I started the podcast was I wanted to just get the information out there. And I just bring on every Friday, I try to bring on somebody in the industry that's an expert, somebody that's out there making deals happen, whether it's their first deal or they have 10,000 units under their belt. I bring people on the show, ask them all the tough questions, and try to really find out how do they create success. And, if the people are really listening and taking notes, they can take some nuggets from the show and really start going out there and putting their own deals together. So that was, the main reason. And, hopefully, the guys in the league tuning in and learn, while they're still playing. So when they finish, they know exactly what they want to do.
Yeah, that's excellent. I know we've got a couple people on here that are doing podcasts and, slaying it, just trying to meet people. And that's been a great vehicle. Hutch is on the line, and he's, he's everywhere. And,
Right.
Once you get your name out there and people start hearing your, what you're all about, it really attracts people. Do you have any advice for starting it? What has helped you become, successful, with more getting your name out there? What is words of wisdom on that?
Yeah, well, the first thing is just putting yourself out there. For example, like I'm about to do now, anybody that right now, if want to be a guest on the podcast, if you've done one deal or you've done 100 deals, I want to have you on the show. So reach out to me so we can connect. And I would love to be a guest on your show. So anytime you want to have me on, I'm ready to go. I'm always ready. So I would say that. But as far as getting started, just number one, get you some good equipment. Get you a nice mic. Invest in yourself. Don't be cheap. Don't cheap out and go buy the little $20 mic from Walmart. Go spend a little money and get some good quality, equipment. And I spent $200 for the Yeti mic, but the mic sounds great. I get compliments all the time on this mic, and it makes a difference. So get you some good equipment, get you some professional lighting. There's syndication sites out there like Libsyn, Podbean or something like that. It only costs you $30 or $40 a month to get going and start getting these shows out there. And if you feel uncomfortable, I was talking with I got a guy that played in the NBA, and he's playing across seas now professionally. And I was telling him, man, look, go ahead and start your podcast, man. Stop waiting around. People keep saying, well, I'm going to do it one day. Just, let me get this together. Let me get that together. No, I said, man, just take action. Forget about it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And, if you listen to my first episodes, you'd be like, man, this dude is trash. Like, but I don't care, man. I just put it out there, and, you're going to get better over time. And that's just how I view it.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I do feel a little bit threatened because you've been in so many interviews and, getting the story on how the plays were, and I got to do some work here. That's all I got to say.
You're great.
But,
you're great.
I do have somebody that said that they would love to know tips and tricks for your website, your YouTube, anything that you'd like to share with us on that.
Yeah. Well, if you guys don't know about Fiverr, FIVERR.com, you can go and hire very cheaply, very professional, designers, graphic designers, and they're typically overseas, Pakistan, India. But for $5, you can get a very nice back, like the one that's on behind me now on my virtual background. I paid $5 to get this put together, and it looks amazing.
You did get a compliment. You did get a compliment on that. So for $5, I think I need to fix mine. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, $5, man, you can get anything done. Whether if you say, well, I don't know about mix and mastering my audio, go on Fiverr. Anything that's digital that needs to be done, somebody on Fiverr can do it for you. So spend the $5-10 and man, you'll be surprised at what you can get done. You know, I even got if you see my website, if you go to onyxcapitalinvestments.com, you will see that website. And, you know, it looks like I spent probably $5,000-10,000 for this website, but I paid maybe $1,000 for that site. You know, it's
Oh
crazy.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Hey, David, could you do me a favor? Can you type in the chat? First of all, Will, can you tell us again what your website is? And David, can you type it in there?
Yeah, it's actually right behind my big head. If I can slide back, it's onyxcapitalinvestments.com.
Okay. All right, we got that. Now, what about your podcast?
Yeah, so the podcast is I put the link in there already for it. It's Generational Wealth Through Commercial Real Estate. So that's the YouTube channel, but the podcast is the same thing. You just type it in on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you can listen to music. If you type that in there, it's going to show up. I got about 45, 46 episodes on now.
Was that difficult to get set up on the, what is it, on Spotify? Was that a difficult process?
No, it's really simple, actually. I chose to go with Libsyn, and, essentially you just go in there, you log in your credentials, and, you just upload it. It literally takes me 5 minutes to upload a new episode. It's
easy.
Very simple. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. So you are a broker as well. We have not talked about that. I know we've got a lot of people in the house that are looking for properties. So whether it's now, do you go only in North Carolina or do you go around the other areas? Please tell us about that.
Yeah. So, but the Overton Group is licensed in South Carolina and also Georgia. So, if you have some deals that you want to see there, I can also facilitate that. But I'm primarily working right now in North Carolina.
Okay. And so you have off-market deals?
Yeah. So because we're a boutique firm, we're not going to get the listings like Cushman and Wakefield are going to get, or Marcus and Millichap. So I just, every day I'm on the phone from 9 a.m. to about 11:30, 12 o'clock every single day, dialing for dollars. I'm on the phone, just ringing, trying to talk to many property owners as possible. And, I typically find, one that's thinking about it. And it's just a matter of compounding those guys and finding the ones that are actually motivated. So, yeah, I mean, I go direct to seller. And how I like to work, I like to find, buyers that can actually close and people that could perform. So I don't want to talk to the investor that says, hey, I'm looking for a deal, see what you got. That's great. But, what is your track record, right? If you haven't done a deal yet, I'm not going to send you a deal that I need to close to feed my family. This is how I feed my family. And if somebody doesn't have a track record, okay, well, be honest about it. Who's on your team? That's where your team comes in. Who's on your team? There's plenty of people in this group right now that could be on your team that can, legitimize you. And that's how you can get deals sent your way. Brokers are not going to send deals to people that don't know, what they're talking about or that don't have a track record.
So I'm very curious, and I know a lot of people are, what do you want to hear from an investor that gives you confidence that they know what the hell they're doing? What's a couple words, or, tell us that, because I get phone calls all the time saying, I don't know what to say, or the guy didn't call me back. And so you gotta tell us a little bit, like, what's that call gonna be? What's it gonna sound like? Yeah.
Well, I'm going to vet, the guy that's calling me. So number one, I'm going to ask them, what is your experience? I need to know this person has experience or they have partnered with experience.
I have no experience.
If you have no experience, click.
Now, come on, that wasn't the right answer.
Nah, I ain't gonna do that to you. But I'm just gonna say, look, man, who's on your team? If you don't have experience, you got to have somebody else on your team because at the end of the day, if you're talking about buying a $4 or $5 million property, you got to have experience even from the agency side to even close on a deal. So you got to have a team around you because that's going to let me know right now that you haven't done your research and you're not that serious about buying a property. So that's number one. What's your buying power? Do you have agency debt behind you? Do you have insurance companies writing you checks, or are you going off and you're doing a one-off syndication and you got to raise the money, or have you pre-raised the money? Is the money sitting there and you just need a deal? So that's a big difference. Okay, we got to go out and raise the money. Okay, well, have you done this before? And if you've done it before, then okay, then I'll put it in front of you because I feel like you at least done it, so you may have a chance to get it done. But if you're saying, we haven't done it before, we haven't raised the money yet, we just want to get something under contract and we're going to figure it out. I may send it to you, and then again, I may not, just because, like I said, I got to make sure that the person I'm sending the deal to is able to close. Do they understand the terminology around real estate? Can they, really tell me, okay, this is the kind of cap rate we're looking for. Is their cap rate realistic for the market? If you're calling about Raleigh and our cap rates are at 5%, you say, look, man, I'm looking for deals in Raleigh and I want a 9 cap. What? You want a 9 cap? What kind of property you planning on buying with 9 cap in Raleigh? So they got to be realistic in their expectations on what they're looking for. That also lets me know that they've studied the markets and they know what kind of deals are in the marketplace. So I would say that, and just know the jargon. Know how to talk the language.
Yeah, it's so true. And I just love what you said about this is how I feed my family. And
Yeah.
so as borrowers, I call you guys borrowers, but as a buyer, we really do need to be cognizant of that. But also you have to start someplace, right? You gotta build those relationships. So if it's not something that you have, then maybe there is another broker that's getting their feet wet, and maybe they're a little younger, that are a little bit more hungry, that might be a better fit to get started, right? I mean, that's always an option.
And let me say this, a lot of times as brokers, we have our, 2 or 3 guys that they're going to see every deal first. It's just they have the track record, they've proven their success. We want to put a deal in front of them because we know they can close.
Yeah.
And if you're calling for the first time, and even if you do, have that team around you, you still probably won't see it first. We're going to show it to the other guy, and then you're going to get in. But as you start to close deals, you're going to move up that rank. And Vinny Chopra, he's my mentor on the syndication side, and he talks about the napkin listing. And that's what you really want to have. That napkin listing is, I literally just sat down with the owner, and the ink is still wet on the page, and I'm calling you, say, look, man, I got a deal, it's X, Y, and Z, you want to buy this. That's where you want to get. And you only get to that point from calling the broker, building relationships, and showing your track record with them, man. That's the other thing I would tell you. I get people that call me maybe once and I never hear from them again. The good ones, they're hey, every month they're calling me. Once a week, they might be sending an email. Hey, man, anything came up? You working on anything new? Those are the ones that's top of mind. In marketing, it's about top of mind. Whoever's top of mind is going to be the one that's going to get seen first, or going to get the deal first. So that's also something that you want to think about as you're trying to get deal flow.
So I'm just thinking about how, you could build a relationship with Will. Maybe it's, hey, Will, what is your favorite Cutco knife? If you find out what Will's favorite Cutco knife is, that maybe you need to send Will a Cutco knife. Will, what's your favorite Cutco knife?
Man, that's a great question.
It's a good question, right?
It is. There's a lot of knives in the set.
Now you're gonna have a lot of Cutco knives are showing up at your door, man.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right about that. It's about just building that relationship, and over time, man, it just kind of organically grows. And if you plan on business a long time, what does it matter if you're spending the time building it? You know, because you're going to want to keep getting deals time and time and time again. You know, this is
Yeah.
a good business as a broker. We make big checks, and you know, most of us plan on doing this for you know, quite a while. So it's definitely worth the investment to you know, call these guys to stay on top of them.
Yeah. Dave Hutchins says, what is your favorite Cutco knife there, David? I think you were showing us. What do you got? Is it the butter spreader?
Yeah, it's the spreader.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's the
that's a
best
good
one,
one.
man. You can whip
That's a
some
good
sandwiches
one.
up
I
fast
still
with
like
that one.
the scissor because it comes open into 2 pieces and you can put it in the dishwasher easily.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is excellent. And the cheese
Yeah.
slicer is good too. I got them all. I got
Oh,
them all.
wow.
So, I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
All right. So we know how to get a hold of you.
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions for our wonderful guest, Will Smith? Please,
I
this
do.
is the opportunity before we say goodbye.
I actually have 2 questions.
Hello, Tim.
Hello, Julie. Hey, well, I actually have 2 questions. My first question is, I'm sure you had a lot of haters from your previous experience or from your games. How do you deal with them? Or did you make peace with them? Or what's happening with them? And question number 2, that would be towards real estate. If you ran into situations where you were in conflict since you're a broker and you couldn't go after certain deals for one or another reason. So if you could just mention a couple of those situations.
Yeah. So the first question you asked me, how do I deal with haters? And that was in regards to football.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, for the haters, you know, I forget who said it, but they said, if you don't have any haters, you're not doing something right. So, you know, you look for haters because that's what drives you to you know, to keep doing what you're doing, so you can keep looking at them like, yeah, I still got you. Like, I'm still better than you. Like, you want to have haters. And that, you know, that's whatever you do. You want to have haters. But I didn't hear the second question. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, the second question is, if you encountered situations where the broker license actually kind of broke the deal, or you couldn't go after certain deals because you had the brokerage license, if you ran into situations like that, if you could share some knowledge of situations like that.
Yeah. So your question is, have I ever ran into a situation where being a broker has hindered me from being able to do a deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I haven't found any situations where that's happened. You know, being a broker, I get to see the deals first. So if I want to do the deal, then yeah, I'm going to put the team together to do the deal. But I wouldn't say I found any situations where being a broker hurt me. If anything, it helps me.
Do you know about Cat Williams?
No, I don't.
Okay. Hutch, what are you talking about? Hutch says that's Cat Williams. It's a hater's job to hate. Oh, is that in reference to what he says that?
Yeah, man. Everyone needs some haters, right? A lot of people that try to impose their fear and insecurity on you, right? And they talk crap.
Yeah.
You know, that's where most trash talk come from: fear and insecurity.
Right.
You know,
right.
but one of it, I had a question though, on the real estate side. You know, if these deals are great, right? There's so many value add deals. Seem like every deal is a value add deal, right? I often ask myself, why aren't brokers buying these deals? They're connected with all the investors. I mean, not all, but a lot of investors, and they're connected with the seller. Why don't they acquire the deal themselves?
That's a great question. And I ask myself that all the time. I just think about, you know, why, like I talked to a guy the other day. He's been selling real estate for freaking 15 years, commercial real estate, and he doesn't own any properties. And I asked him, I was like, you know, why you don't own anything? You know, I was like getting a commission check. So they really, even though you're making a lot of money, they still looking at it as a W-2 job. So they don't have the investor's mindset, even though they sell to investors all day. So to me, it's mind-boggling, but I promise you that won't be me.
That is a great question.
Julie, can I kick in something on that?
More paradigm.
Say it again.
Right.
Say it again.
I'd like to add something to what to Hutch's question in reference to why a lot of brokers or agents don't go after properties. don't, and the reason why I'm gonna kick something in is because I'm a commercial guy with KW, but and I'm licensed in Jersey, but the one thing we're not, as agents, we are not taught to go out and invest. We are taught the laws, and we are taught how to look for buyers, how to look for sellers, but we are never taught how to be an investor, how to start creating investments and stuff like that. What normally will bring an agent or a broker into starting to invest in properties is someone that we run across. And they start saying, yo, why don't you start getting into this? And then they start then they start showing you things and opening the doors for you to do things. And all of a sudden a light bulb goes off in your head and you're like, holy smoke, what am I doing? So I think, Hutch, one thing I could definitely say is, one, we're not taught that, to be investors. We're not taught to go out and look for properties. We're taught to service the buyer, service the seller, you know? And then once you make that step, but that's how it was for me. Once I got the sniffing of the blood, that was it. I knew I was on the wrong side of the fence. And even right now, Hutch, I do not even think, I don't have the time to be going out looking for buyers or sellers when I'm trying to get my properties myself. I just don't have the time. But I keep my license up. I keep my license up, and I stay with KW because it's good. The training is good and everything is good. But I don't have the time for it now. Now, I mean, it's about me and my properties. I ain't got time to look for buyers and sellers.
Yeah, I appreciate you clarifying that. You know, take for instance, Steve Chen, right? Looking for the last 50K, right? The broker, you know, I love talking to people. Heath and I would love talking to people, right? So talking to a broker, and if they have the W-2 mindset that Will was talking about, right? There's a way to speak to them to get the last 50 grand, right? If they have the risk capacity, right, and the risk tolerance to make that investment, invest the commission into a deal. You know what I mean? So we can bring a lot of brokers into our deals that way. Is that something that you see a lot of brokers are interested in? I understand that's how they feed their family, but based on your experience, are you seeing a lot of brokers invest in deals?
Is that to me or Will?
Will.
Well.
Yeah. I mean, here in my local office, you know, I would tell you, you know, the majority of brokers, I would say 90% of the brokers, they have that W-2 mindset. They just, you know, this is how they're paying their bills, and they take their money and, you know, they spend it on whatever, or they make a lot of money and they spend all their money, you know, so there's nothing left to invest. So that's what I see for the guys that I've spoke with. But hey, maybe there are guys out there that's doing more than I think. I don't know everybody, so you know, who knows?
Yeah.
It don't hurt to ask. I mean, when you're talking with a broker and you're looking at a deal, ask them. Don't be afraid to ask them.
Don't worry, I ask.
Because you know what I'm saying. If I didn't know that Will was an investor, and he brought me a deal, I'm going to ask Will, if the numbers work, do you think you would like to invest in this? I'm going to ask him. All he's going to say to me is yes or no. Am I right, Will?
No, you're right. You're right.
That's it. And I'm going to tell you something else. I think I've even asked Julie. When I first met Julie.
That's it. I was going to say same thing.
I don't care who you are. I'm going to ask you. If I come to Julie and we're talking about, she told me, I'm saying, hey, Julie, if the numbers look good, would you think about investing? I've asked her.
Yep.
So if you're not asking those people, you're losing out. You're letting money get away. I don't care who you come across. Ask them. It don't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
Hey, Daryl, some brokers cannot do this. It's actually a conflict of interest, like Marcus Millichap and big firms. They will not do it. They will not allow their employees to participate in these deals. But I have a question for Will. Will, how do you actually approach other brokers that are selling property? Do you split the commission with them, or you basically let them keep their commission if you're buying a deal with them or from them, I should say.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if this is a property that's listed, especially the larger deals, typically they're not going to be paying a commission to the buyer's broker. It's very, very common if you're buying a property from, Cushman and Wakefield or something like that, that if you are the buyer's broker, they expect the buyers to pay the buyer's agent commission. So, if I was buying a deal, obviously I wouldn't be trying to get any commission because they're not going to be kicking any commission to me.
Yeah, good point. All right, anybody else before we're over our time, and I always want to be respectful of everybody's time. Is there any one last question for Will?
Will, what do you think the missing link is between NFL players investing in real estate and, the current state? Like when you were in the league, I'm sure you had a million people coming at you asking for your money. Like, what is the missing connection? It seems like it would be such a great win-win for all of us to be able to tap into that because they have the money. We could help them invest. If they invested right, they wouldn't be broke in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
What's the missing link?
The missing link is education. There's no education content for them. There's nobody, telling them, you need to be looking at real estate. The people that's approaching them, they're getting them at the combine. They're getting them while they're in college. They're starting to send them stuff, letting them know, hey, we can help you manage your money. We can help you preserve your wealth. We can help you make money. But there's nobody in the real estate space trying to get in front of these guys because the advisors, once they have them, they guard them. You're not getting in front of these guys because they get typically a percentage of assets under management, their money under management. So they're not going to allow them. Well, I shouldn't say allow, but they're going to dissuade them from investing with anybody else because it's taking their money away.
How do they end up going broke if they have the financial advisors, though? Don't the advisors help talk to them about not making those big?
That's the funny thing. The advisor is there, but at the end of the day, the player is going to say, look, I need this money to do this. The advisor's job at that point, hey, good idea. But at the end of the day, they're going to still go out and buy the Ferrari, or they're going to still go out and buy the chains and the watches and the shoes and, the cars and all of that stuff. But like I said, the advisors, man, they're really not educating them on real estate and if they put part of their money in real estate, it's not liquid, so they can't take it and spend it right away. So that's what I would tell the guys, man, is go ahead and buy something. If you want to get, a car or whatever, go buy a property that can pay for that car for you. And that's the thought process that I want to instill in these guys. If you want to have these liabilities, go acquire assets that can pay for these liabilities for you. And that's what's missing. That's the missing part, man.
That is terrific.
Have you converted any of your old friends that you used to play with, or have you gotten in there at all?
Yeah, I've talked to some guys, and I got a client now that I broke for here in North Carolina, former player, and he's in real estate. And it's, guys that I played with, I've talked to them, and, once the deal comes along that makes sense, I can get in front of them and get them away, pry them away from their financial advisors and show them the benefits of real estate.
I think that there's a great opportunity for you, to educate these guys and show them your wealth and show them your success. And, it's a perfect transition for them to come into your hands. So
100%.
You guys, I think, we are just so grateful, Will, that you were able to spend an hour with us. We've learned a ton from you and really, really appreciate your time. And we, the content is, I think for me, hearing you speak from your heart was just so valuable, and really the teamwork and what the commitment is. So I want to thank you on behalf of everyone on the meeting tonight. And if there's an opportunity that we can work together, any of us here, we would love the opportunity. We're going to give you Cutco knives maybe, and then, we really would love the opportunity to work with you.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you so much. And you guys, will see you next week. Zoom at 8. We have the Potty Princess coming next week. The Potty Princess, she'll be joining us. You don't want to miss this one. So thank you, Will. Have a great night. Everybody, thanks for your time. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Julie.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you, man.
Take good care,
Have a
guys.
great night.